I have one of the most lovely women in the world across the table from me.
Well, I thank you for saying that, Shelby.
It's my mom,
Well,
Celia, and she came to visit today. So we were going to maybe talk a little bit just about life in general.
happy to be here. Always happy to be here with my son, Shelby.
Yes.
Very proud of him.
Yeah, I don't know why, but
I know why.
she says that, but we'll see. I could have done better.
I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
We all
Well, that's nice.
we all could have done better. I could have done better as a single mom also, but
Yeah.
we do what we can do at the time.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of interesting. You had lunch with my son Noah the other day.
Oh,
a week ago.
Yes. I just enjoyed Noah, my first grandson. There's just some special bond with him when I can't say his name without smiling.
Yeah.
And having one-on-one with Noah is very special.
Yeah. Yeah. And he had said at one time that you helped raise him.
Oh, and I like to hear that. We all loved having Noah.
I would think we've talked about this before, about how when we grew up, me, when I was a kid growing up, we were very close to your parents, my grandparents.
Exactly.
Yeah. They were a mile down the road.
Yes.
And they had a pond in the backyard.
Yes.
And we used to go down there. I feel like it was all the time.
Probably not so much all the time, but there was quite a few parties with siblings and cousins and friends that would go down there, and we would enjoy the day.
Yeah. It just seemed like, I guess in the summer, I just felt like we were there maybe more than we actually were. But it was definitely a big part of my growing up. And I feel like that's what I wanted to instill in Noah, even though you didn't have a pond. But
we had Cedar Point.
you had Cedar Point, yes.
And we had the rec center. One time I used to take Noah to the rec center, and I would be wrinkled because he'd want to stay so long. And then when he got a little bit older and I tried to show him how to swim, he didn't take lessons that I know of. But one time I said about swimming, he goes, "Well, you taught me how to swim." So that was a cute little memory.
Yeah.
But he thinks I helped raise him and I taught him how to swim.
Well, I like to think that you did. And you did help raise him.
I always loved children. And when I grew up, I was the oldest of 9. And I never worked on the farm. My sister Joni did. I think she drove tractor a little bit, maybe some other ones. But I always said, no, I always wanted to help my mom with the babies. My mom used to call me the little mommy because I'd always be helping with the babies.
Yeah.
And there were always babies.
Yeah. How many kids were in your family?
Originally, we were 10, and I lost when I was 7. My 9-year-old sister died. She had a concussion, and we were raised like as twins. My mom wanted twins. She never had twins, but so she raised us like twins. And then when my sister died, I was kind of alone. But anyway, the youngest was 3 when I got married, and I hated leaving her. And she even packed a little suitcase. And I was going to Germany to live with my husband. And here she comes with her little suitcase with her blanket and her doll. She wanted to go away with me. So,
Oh, that's cute. That's a lot of kids. Very active household, I'm sure.
it was.
And we have still active get-togethers when we have our Christmas party every year. There's you and all your sisters and my cousins. I don't know if I have 25 or 30 on that side. I tried counting them one time, and it was pretty hard.
Yeah, I would say it would be.
So you had this lunch with Noah a while back, and he came back and said something to me, asked me, I think, and I never heard this before, about my dad living in Chicago.
That's right. After he got out of high school at Pioneer and Willard High School, he went to Chicago he was in auto mechanics at Pioneer, the first class. That's where he and I had met. And then he went to diesel mechanics in Chicago. And he was actually a banker. He worked at a bank during the day. I was telling this to Noah, all day at the bank. And then his classes were in the evening. And then after he was done with his classes, maybe, I don't know if it was maybe 4 hours in the evening, had another job, a second job. And he worked the jail making sandwiches for people that were brought into jail in Chicago. Probably a lot of people, but he said they were bologna sandwiches, ketchup, mustard on each one of them, and slap it together. And then that's what they had when they brought into jail. But so he was I always called him a workaholic.
Yeah. So you met in high school at the trade school. So you graduated what year?
I graduated in 70. He graduated in 69.
Okay.
I actually met him at a football game after he graduated. Everybody knew him because he was the president of the student council. in 69. And I knew his brother better, and I thought, oh, kind of like the other brother.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when he moved to Chicago, you were not married at the time.
Oh, no. He lived in Chicago. It was a 1 year schooling, and there was 2 years that they had a draft by their birthdays.
For Vietnam.
For Vietnam draft. And I clearly remember when if your birthday was early in the year, you would get picked for that year. And I remember getting the paper and finding his birthday, and he had number 33. And I knew he was going to go to the Army or to someplace, but he ended up enlisting. So he went in May 13th of 71. That's when his birthday was. So, and then we got married in July. He went to basic training and called me up, and he said, I got a 2-week leave. And so he came home, and he thought it was going to be in October, but it was in July that he got his leave. And so he came home, and we decided we'd get married. And then after that, he had to go to another trade school. That was in Virginia. Airplane mechanics, because they needed airplane mechanics if they went to Vietnam. So he went to that school for 5 months, and we lived in a trailer with a lot of there was a bunch of trailers with the servicemen that they were only there temporarily. And so then I was working at a stretch and sew fabric shop.
Stretch and sew.
Yeah, which is out of business now, but that was when knits were very popular. And he came in to the fabric shop one day, and he goes, I'm not going to Vietnam. I thought, well, I'll have to go home and live with my family after being married for 5 months. And he says, we're going to Germany. So
we're going to Germany. That's nice.
He said, we're going to Germany. He goes, I'm going to go, and then I'm going to send you tickets, and you're going to come to Germany.
Oh, wow.
Thinking that he was going to Vietnam, and then it was kind of almost over then, and it was a wonderful thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Much better place to be. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I like to think it's something to do with his background in mechanics. I mean, they put him into airplane mechanics to work on airplanes.
That's right.
He had the auto
mechanics
at trade school, and then he went to that school in Chicago. Did he stay there? How long was he in Chicago?
I think it was only 1 year. It was a 1 year program.
Oh, so he finished it.
Diesel mechanic. Yes, he finished it. If you were drafted, and he of course enlisted, but if you were drafted, well, they wouldn't take you away from school. You could get a deferment till you got done with your school. And he didn't get called till he was done with this school when he finally got called. Oh,
okay. So you moved to Germany.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And how long were you there?
He was there about close to 2.5 years. He got me over there within a month or so. He said, I'm having you over here in 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. It might have been a little bit longer, but found an apartment for us to live in. I got a job in Germany. There was actually only one job that was only for an American, and that was at the Red Cross person that would send wires out, because you'd have to know about the cities in the United States where you would send wires, because we didn't have phones. We didn't have a phone in our house. We didn't have cell phones back then. And so we'd send wires through the Red Cross at the communication center. Okay. And I was in charge of that. I took a shorthand course, and then the wires would be read to me. And if a serviceman wasn't writing home, he could get a wire. The parents were concerned about him, or if there's a death in the family, somebody was sick. The wires would go back and forth like that.
Oh, interesting. So you couldn't make phone calls back to the States?
You could make shortwave radio calls. We didn't have a phone. There was a shortwave radio. At one point when he first went over there and was in Germany, and he called home to try to tell me some of the information, and I wasn't home at the time because I was working. And my 10-year-old sister answered the phone, and she had to, at 10 years old, they told her she had to say stop when you'd say something, you'd say stop, and then they switch it over to my husband.
Oh, so back and forth.
Back and forth. And I remember saying, oh, Mary Lou, I'm so proud of you. You knew how to do that and say stop so you could talk, and took that information being at 10 years old.
Wow.
So.
Oh, that's interesting. So it is like a walkie-talkie or
it was kind of like a walkie-talkie back then. That was how they called from Germany. Yes. Oh, but usually there were wires that would come to a local Red Cross from the Red Cross in Germany. Huh. And at one point I was telling this to Noah, I said, well, at one point there was a bomb scare in the communications center. We call it the comm center. And no one was allowed in the comm center. That was in the 70s. And I remember the steps being, really steep steps, and we all wore short skirts, and all these guys were standing on the side and wouldn't let anybody in, because there was a bomb scare. And they see me down there at the bottom of the steps, and they go, you can come in and get those messages. And I'm thinking, why? There's a bomb scare. So I went in there past all those guys and walked up there and got those messages because someone may have not written home to their parent. So that was kind of funny.
That is funny. That's great. And how old were you when you first moved?
I would have been, I got married at 19 and a half. I would have been 21, almost 21.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Well, at that point, I think drinking age was 18, but not, I wasn't even an adult.
Yeah.
And you can go into a foreign country. I packed everything. The military actually came to my parents' home and packed all my stuff and took it over. And at the time when there wasn't a raise for servicemen in 20 years, and the price, a serviceman private would get $99 a month to live on, but if he was married, he got $105.
Oh,
and
wow.
Then, so that was pretty slim pickings back then.
Yeah.
But then they came through with a raise after 20 years. So it was a little better then. And then in Germany, the dollar was worth more. And then they devalued the dollar and, everything went up. It was cheaper to live in Germany till they devalued the dollar.
Oh. Huh. That seems like such a small amount of money.
Oh, yeah, it was. And in fact, that's why, we didn't have children. So it's easy for me to work. We had one car that we drove there.
Just as a perspective on the money situation with $106, was it?
$105 if you were married and $99. So
there's $6 for having a wife.
An extra $105 if you had a wife.
Oh, an extra $105.
An extra $105 if you had a wife. But a serviceman back then in the early 70s would get $99 a month when you were started as a private.
Do you remember, and I know this is a long time ago, like what was the cost for your apartment rental?
The cost of the apartment after they devalued the dollar was $225.
A month?
A month, and which was a lot of money. The Germans a lot of times would prefer to rent to the Americans because they could get more money.
Oh.
And then because the Germans wouldn't pay that. We had this practically new house. It was a 3-story house. We lived in the basement, which had a walkout, 2 rooms that were walkout in the side of a mountain. Beautiful place. And I thought, what? So expensive,
Yeah.
But that, because I had the only job, American job. Other women could work, but they'd have to hire the Germans first because the base belonged to the Germans. So since we didn't have children, we were able to travel and we enjoyed a lot of things in Europe.
Yeah. Yeah, sounds like it. And where was the town that you lived in? Where was the base?
It was in Gurpingen.
Gurpingen.
And it's an unusual spelling. It was Goeppingen. That base is no longer there, but we lived in Kuchen, which I believe means cake. And it was 20 minutes from the base. There was about 4 or 5 different little towns that we went through.
Yeah, and I was trying to research that town, and it's really hard because every time you search Kuchen, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Germany, all you see is pictures of cake or information about cake. The town's very small. There's not a lot in it.
Very small.
Yeah.
I mean, something funny I thought was in the town, they have your little bakery. They'd have small little refrigerators, like a college refrigerator. They
like
didn't have the big
fridge,
refrigerator.
yeah.
People would go out during the day and get their things. There'd be a bakery. But one thing, in the side of the town, there was a farmer that lived there. He had a barn. And of course, he farmed out of the town, but he brought his stuff in at the edge of the town at night because that's where he lived in the town. With the little barn there, and if you'd have the barn open, you'd see the hay and maybe a couple cows. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But most people would go out during the day to get food. They go out down often to get their food.
So you'd have fresh food more often as opposed to
except
freezers and.
I think the Germans did, but we had a commissary, which was the grocery store, and I had a PX that was a basic store.
Okay.
That on the base that we were allowed to shop at, and we had other things like there was a liquor store, and my German landlady always wanted me to get her liquor, because she wouldn't because it was much cheaper.
Yeah.
So, we weren't supposed to do that.
She didn't cut you a break on the rent. Maybe you shouldn't have done it.
That's right. Yeah.
She's a little nicer.
Yeah, she would. Yeah.
So what do you think the biggest differences between living in Germany and living here were? Because, we're going on a trip there, and not that we're going to be living there, but we are going on a trip very soon, and we're going to go to Kuchen. How do you say it?
I hope you go to Kuchen.
Yes, we are going to. Yes, we found the house. We used Google Earth, Google Maps.
And it didn't say Kuchen, huh?
Yeah.
I think it's Kuchen with those.
Yes. Yeah. See, I've been pronouncing it Kuchen. I didn't probably saying it wrong.
Well, we waited weeks and weeks to get a class in to learn the German language. They provide those on base, and we kept waiting and waiting. They finally got into a class, and we had a nice big classroom full, 25 people. And every week we go to class. By the time the class was over, long before the class was over, there was only 2 left. That was us. People didn't care. My landlady spoke a little English and I spoke a little German, and we got along pretty good.
Yeah. I remember speaking German some in the house growing up when we were kids. I remember you two speaking German, and I think I used to be able to count to 10 maybe in German. I can't do that anymore.
I can.
You can? Let's hear it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Very good.
No, maybe, well, I don't even know if it's very good anymore. Nobody's asked me to count in German for a very long time.
Yeah, another thing I remember about that is speaking German and also eating, I think with the rations or whatever, the green cans.
Yes, because your dad was reservist for quite a few years, and he'd go on these 2-week leaves. In fact, when you were born, I was very nervous because he had to go 2 weeks every year, or maybe it was a week, but I was very nervous because he was gone when my son was going to be born. But thank heavens that you were 11 days late.
Oh, yes. I wanted to wait.
She wanted to wait because I was so nervous about going early, but Shelby decided he would wait. In fact, one time I said, I carried you for 5 weeks longer than your sister because your sister was born 3 weeks early and you were born 11 days late. And your response to me was, Mom, maybe that's why we're so close. Always a sense of humor. I guess I didn't think about that at the time. I'm carrying 11. They would never let you go 11 days. If I would have gone one more day, they would have started me. But I said, no, I want to have this baby natural.
Yeah. Which is interesting is the last 3 kids that were born that I know, their parents, they were scheduled for their births.
It's more convenient for the doctor to have them scheduled. And I don't, that's not what they used to do, schedule. But they do say that after a while, the baby does kind of run out of food. But 3 of my babies were all within an ounce of each other. My oldest son was the littlest one of them.
Ironic. Not the littlest one now.
Not the littlest one now.
It is interesting the differences because the kids I'm thinking of, the babies, they were 2 months out. They had the schedule. They knew when the day and time
I think that
they were going to be born.
The doctors prefer that because they don't get interrupted in the middle of the night. Or I remember with your brother, the doctor was out in the golf course and I kept thinking he wanted to finish his golf game. And I remember the nurse saying, it's okay. I've caught babies before. So, okay. All right.
Well, that's all the doctor comes in for.
He actually came in at the last minute and caught the baby.
Yeah.
And he had all the credit delivered by this doctor, but actually.
The nurses are there the entire time helping, doing everything, and the doctor shows up.
Yeah. Get the credit.
Yeah. So what's the upside to being a single mom?
I can't think.
The way I worded that doesn't play well.
Really no upside to being a single mom.
And we've talked about on the podcast before. My dad passed away when I was 14, and my older brother, I guess he was 16.
Yeah, he was 16.
I mean, I can't remember.
Yeah, well.
So why don't you tell us, how old was everybody?
He passed away when he was 40 and a half, and it was the day before my 40th birthday. And I didn't know for years after that. Somebody said, well, he was going to do something special for your 40th birthday. And I thought, this is not special. But I didn't know for years afterwards he'd planned a surprise birthday party for me at Cranberry Hills Golf Course. Years and years I didn't know that. So, so Nathan was 16, Shelby was 14, sister was 11, almost 12, because that was in February, and Adam was 2 years and 5 months. So he really didn't ever know his dad. So, but I always thought he kind of had 3 parents, and then my parents lived a mile down the road, and they really kicked in and helped when I needed it. And I actually went back to work at 6 weeks. I had worked for a dentist when I was in high school. My cousin saw this job for a part-time dental assistant, and then she showed it to me, and she goes, I don't think this is the time, but this is what I'm going to show it to you. And I remember my brother-in-law came over and he said, you got to get out of this house. You got to go get a job. You're waiting for him to come home. So I did. Sometimes I come home and my kids would have dinner ready for me. We remodeled the house. We were going to remodel the house before he died. And I thought, well, I'm going to go ahead and do that because I thought I could. Remember one time I came home and Shelby, we had a kind of a grill on the kitchen stove. I bought a nice range and everything. And he was cooking chicken in this little grill, making a, they really tried hard to make a mess, but so it was good that I went back to work.
Yeah, I definitely remember those times, and it was probably good that you were getting out of the house.
Yeah, that's what I was told. I couldn't wait for him to come home. So life was pretty busy back then.
Yeah.
I actually only worked a couple days a week, and my parents helped, especially with little Adam, and it was close by, and I enjoyed getting out a little bit, but life was busy with all the kids at one point were in different schools, one in the Catholic school and one at the public school and one at the vocational school and one in college. Life was very busy those days, and then 3 days work a week was enough for a long time. It was busy. Before that time, before he died, I didn't work. Well, I did work when I first came back from Germany. I worked for a dentist in Willard, and until I had my first baby, and then I quit. And then I occasionally went back. I remember one time I went back for 6 weeks because somebody else was having a baby and I wanted to help them.
Oh.
And I drove, we lived in a neighboring town, and I drove and worked for 6 weeks thinking, no, I want to be home with my kids. I always wanted to raise my own children. So I guess I got my wish. I got to raise my own children, partly by myself.
Yeah.
And I'm very proud of the fact that they all turned out very well. I couldn't be more proud.
So from the time that my older brother was born, you only went back to work sometimes.
Yeah.
A kid or for some
yeah,
reason.
I was mostly
stay at home.
It was just one, but then I worked for my in-laws a little bit. They had an auction house, and we all, the kids liked to do that, help grandma and grandpa.
And that was weekly, right? The auction house?
Yeah, it was every week. And actually, it was a couple times a week. I think there was an auction during the week, and for a while, I'd drive over to where they had the auction house on a Tuesday or Wednesday night, and we had a babysitter come till he got home.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Shelby
so you go by
me,
yourself to work at the auction sometimes?
Yeah.
I see.
It was an evening, but it was like probably over an hour drive.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it had to be over an hour, but I don't know, it was something I did. We hired a little neighbor girl till their dad got home.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we ended up moving closer. I think when I was 5, we moved.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, you did.
Okay. And then I remember going to the auction quite a bit, and he also had a general store in that same town, and I always remember getting strawberry ice cream and beef jerky sticks.
And Grandpa didn't like it that I didn't want you to have too much sugar, so they always say, you pick out a candy bar. They felt like I was depriving my children because they weren't getting a lot of sugar.
Which I don't really like sugar now.
I know, isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
But your older brother does.
Does he?
I think he does.
I didn't really talk to him about that. I guess I didn't know that. I don't know if it's because of the way we were raised that I don't like sugar, but it can't be if he still likes it. So we're raised the same. And I always explain to people, it's not because I'm healthy. Because I like bacon.
We all like bacon.
Yeah. I like all the other things I shouldn't be eating, but just don't care for sugar.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. I'm now in the house that I basically grew up in. Even though I wasn't born here, I purchased this house from my mom. It was a rental for some years. You got remarried.
Yes.
At what age were you remarried?
Maybe 49. I was widowed at almost 40. I was a single mom for 8 years. 8, 9 years.
What would you say was the worst part of being a single mom?
Being a single mom, when I was a single mom, there weren't very many single moms in this area. I was the only single mom, and everybody felt sorry for me. And now there's so many single moms. It's not a big deal. I mean, it's a big deal, but it's not like back then. It's like everybody had a spouse, and I didn't have a spouse. And then you lose your identity. Then you got to make all these decisions. Luckily I had my parents to help. Yeah. And then my children, they say that especially the males, they'll take over and they want to do things for mom, and they still do. So
your family's great. My aunts, uncles, and grandparents. And so I'm sure that was very helpful to have good support.
Yeah. A good support group is no matter what you're going through. I try to be supportive of other people when I'm not having support issues myself. So in a small Catholic community like we lived in, there was a lot of support. That was very valuable.
Yeah. And I never thought of it that way, that now it's not uncommon at all to have single parents. I'd venture to say 25% of the people that I know are single parents, and not because of someone passing away. You know, now it's more of a choice, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, and it's interesting that has changed in relatively short amount of time. You know, because we're talking the early 90s. So the early 90s, and now we're at mid 2020s. And it's not that long ago. You know, to hear that, I've never really realized that. I never thought about it, that it was uncommon. And now here we are where it's so common.
Right.
It's so very common. So there's got to be some upsides. There's got to be some kind of upside being a single parent.
Upsides.
Always looking for a silver lining. In
Okay,
everything.
I know you're that type of person that wants a silver lining. I didn't think it was a silver lining trying to figure out things on my own, because basically when you grew up in the 60s, in my family, my dad took care of the outdoor men things, and my mom took care of the children, and you know they had their church community, and that's just kind of the way a mother took care of her children. But then when you're a single mom, it's like, well, you got to take care of your children. You've got to figure out how to do things like,
put water softener, salt in.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Put fires.
Yeah,
start the fire in the wood burner.
Okay, so we had some funny stories being a single mom, and I enjoy telling this story. I just told it. My widow's group, I've been grandmothered into it because they thought my experience would be valuable to them. So we had a wood burner, and your dad, Shelby, always took care of the wood burner, and they'd cut wood, and he always cleaned out the pipe that would go from the wood burner to the outside of the house. That was always cleaned out before he'd started again. And I actually had the wood burner checked out after I had to rechange the insurance on it after I redid the house. And they checked it out and everything was all up to code, but nobody cleaned out the flue. So I'm laying in bed one night, sound asleep, and Shelby comes by and comes up to my room and he goes, "Mom, do you have a fire extinguisher? Do we have a fire extinguisher?" I go, "What? Oh, just go back to bed. We're taking care of it." And I'm thinking, there's nothing that will get you out of bed any faster than a 15-year-old coming up to your bedroom and saying, "Mom, do we have a fire extinguisher?" And there was a fire from the wood burner out to the flue, and it wasn't cleaned out. And I came down there and it was bright red. I didn't always handle everything right. I was kind of panicky. "We got to call the fire department." "No, we got this, Mom. We're going to smother it." "You're going to smother it?" Okay, well, it all turned out okay. Things like that. A lot of times wish you had your husband, but that wouldn't have happened had he been here. But a lot of things to figure out like that. Or we lived down a long lane, so I had neighbors would come over and plow me out so I could go to work and kids could go to school. And it was a lot of community effort and family helping out.
I think it was, not that there's any silver lining, but I think us having the ability to make mistakes like that has taught me a tremendous amount. Definitely wouldn't say it's a good thing.
Well, if the house would have burned down, probably wouldn't have been
a bad thing. Yes.
It would have been a very bad thing, but
it does make
a funny story.
Yeah, yes. But that, along with like all the work that we would do, because our dad was a mechanic for a long time, then became a teacher for mechanics, and then started a body shop with his brother. And I just remember always working around the house. Anything that needed done, he would do. So when he passed, it kind of got put onto us. And like we talked about, a support group, people in the community. But I think that's led us to become how we are.
Yeah,
now. Definitely. Again, would not recommend.
Yeah, no. Don't.
So then you got remarried at 49, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
48, 49.
48, 49, somewhere in there. Okay. And then that's when, not long after that, you started renting this house out.
Yeah, rented the house for 12 years.
For 12 years. Okay. And then I remember, so at the end, I was living in Columbus during most of that time. When I was 19, is that when I moved?
Yeah, 19? I think you went to the branch one year and then you moved down to Columbus.
Followed my older brother down. And then ended up staying there for 18 years, I think it was, give or take. When the last tenants moved out, that's when you and stepdad Charlie decided to sell the house and gave us the opportunity, all of us siblings, the opportunity to buy it. Yeah.
I kept fighting selling the house. I kept thinking, I do not want to sell this house. It was just too much he was working in Cleveland. He was CPA and we couldn't do things. He wasn't handy and I'd have to call my sons to come fix things. And things were really getting down with the one tenant that lived here 10 years with a family. Things were getting pretty bad. And the two of us cannot keep this house up. My sons, it's difficult for them to come drop what they're doing in their lives to come over. And Shelby wanted it. So I thought this was a good time. Please, I'm hoping he really wants it. We were thrilled that Shelby wanted it because he always said, I want this house someday. Mm-hmm. But I think it was just the push of, okay, now. And the funny thing is we moved to this house when Nathan was going into the second grade and Noah was going into the second grade.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh. That's the way I remember it. I know Nathan was going into the second grade when we moved here, and then Noah was going into the second grade. So it was time.
That's cute. Mm-hmm. I think I've taken enough of your time for the day.
Oh, okay.
We'll definitely be having more conversation, though.
Okay.
And I just hope you don't feel too bad about how bad you make other grandmothers and mothers look.
Oh. Oh, I think there are a lot of wonderful mothers and grandmothers, but my children and grandchildren are so important to me. Just like when I would tell me, I got to have time with just Noah by himself, and they're all very important. Anytime I spend with my family is wonderful. And it's different coming back here to this house where I loved so much. Mm-hmm. Kind of funny knocking on the door thinking, oh.
The other side of the door, not inside, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, well, it's good. Hope everybody enjoyed meeting the person who sets the bar for everyone else.
I don't know about that. Thank you.
Love you, Mom.
I love you more.